E3 has come and gone almost a month now, and we have a pretty clear idea of what to expect this upcoming holiday season from both Xbox One and PS4. So I want to take a moment to talk about what kind of games we can look forward to, what kind of major changes are going to be made by that time, and which system I think is going to end up selling more by the end of this year. To begin with, let's have a little status update on how both systems have been performing so far. The PS4 is still sitting at a huge advantage with 23.8 million units sold worldwide, while the Xbox One is sitting at 13.1 million. Like I said before in my other comparison video, part of this is due to the fact that the PS4 is available in more regions and has been available in a lot of places for longer, but even then, just looking at strict sales-wise, the PS4 has just been outselling a ton compared to the Xbox One. For instance, let's look at how they've been selling year-to-date since the start of January 1st, 2015. PS4 has sold 4.8 million units, while Xbox One is sitting at 2.1. That means that for every one Xbox One that's been sold, more than 2 PS4s have. Now, is this a trend that I think is going to continue on and we're going to see the PS4 win another year against the Xbox One? No, actually. I actually think this year the Xbox One is going to sell more units during the holiday season, more than enough to end up making up for the year-to-date sales and passing up, but not quite enough to fill in that all-time sales gap because 10 million units is a lot, but it's definitely going to do some damage and make it a little more narrow. And there's a few reasons why, starting with exclusives. Now, if you've ever seen any of my other comparisons before for PS4 versus Xbox One, one thing I always go back to is that exclusive games should be one of the biggest things to determine which system you get, because you want to get the games that really jump out at you. And when it comes to this year, Xbox One has a whole lot to offer to a lot more people than PS4 does. Just talking about games that are completely exclusive to one system or the other, Xbox One has basically 3 huge titles that are going to help push sales this year. We've got Halo 5, which is by far the biggest one and is going to do most of the heavy lifting. But to round it out, we've also got Forza 6 and Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is a timed exclusive and will be made available on other systems later, but for now, during the holiday when it counts, it's only going to be on Xbox. We've also got the Rare Replay Collection as well as the Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which by themselves probably won't drive too many system sales, but will definitely be a nice little extra push. Now, as for PS4, there's a few people arguing that there's nothing coming out this holiday season for them that's exclusive, which isn't entirely true. It's just that what's coming out is either only exclusive to Sony in the sense that it's not going to be on Xbox One, or it's a very niche game. For instance, we have Tales of Zestiria, which is coming out on PC and PS3 as well, Disgaea 5, Dragon Quest Heroes, and Persona 5, which is going to be on PS3 as well, all of which are great titles if you're a fan of JRPGs, but as far as having a wide mass appeal that's going to sell consoles left and right, not the strongest choices to go with, at least by themselves. They're also going to be having the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, which will allow you to play the original 3 games in HD, but once again, that's not really the kind of game that's going to drive sales for the system by itself. It's cool to have if you already own a PS4 and you want to have prettier versions of those games, but you're not going to buy a PS4 just to play Uncharted in HD. So just looking at exclusives alone, the Xbox One just has a lot more going for it as far as wide audience appeal, whereas the PS4 is focusing a lot more on just smaller niche audiences. Now on top of that, there's a whole lot more that Xbox One has at its advantage this particular year. First off, they now have a price drop so that the system is only $350 rather than $400. Now given this is the price it was selling for last year, but that was a limited edition price, whereas this is a permanent price drop, and they're also offering a terabyte model for the original $400 price tag. They're also updating their UI, which is a huge bonus because one of my most consistent complaints about the Xbox One was the current UI design. So seeing that whole thing overhauled is a big benefit to people that were kind of on the edge before. Now that being said, the PS4 does still have quite a bit going on for itself this holiday season. Like I said, there's a lot of JRPGs coming out, so if you're a fan of that genre, there's quite a bit to look forward to. On top of that, if the trend continues, most multi-platform games do tend to look better and perform better on PS4 versus Xbox One. So people that aren't really fans of the Xbox One exclusives and they just want to have games look their best that are available on both, well, there's an extra nudge for PS4 in that direction. And while PS4 doesn't have any huge titles coming out this year, this past E3 they did focus a lot on titles we can look forward to in 2016. So there might be those people that grab a system a little early, planning on picking up games that are coming out in the hopefully not too far future, such as No Man's Sky and Horizon Zero Dawn. So these are things that'll help, but really it just comes down to the fact that right now, based on what we know, this holiday season the Xbox One is going to be available for $50 cheaper with more big name AAA titles available to choose from for people that are currently sitting without a next-gen console. PS4 does have stuff to offer, but it's just a lot more niche right now, which is a problem when it comes to raw sales. So those are just my thoughts on how the Xbox One and PS4 are going to sell this holiday season. There is, of course, time for some of this to change. There's always the chance of surprise price drops, bundles that are really worth it, or maybe even seeing one of those major games I talked about getting pushed back to next year. But at this point, it seems like they're pretty locked in. So as long as they are, pretty safe to say that I think the Xbox One is going to win at least holiday sales, if not year to date, and going to do at least a good bit of damage to close up that current gap. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button to let me know. Make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter as well. I'll be seeing you guys with more great content, but until then, I'm Kevin Kenson, and I'll see you guys later.